world over, the agriculture sector is key and fundamental to human sustenance and survival. The sector provides food and raw materials for agro-processing in its multi-dimensions. This in turn is pivotal for job creation. Nigeria has benefited immensely from the value chain of cotton and rice. These two areas are quite vital because of the vast and growing population, which would have to be clothed and fed. Rice, for instance, is a staple food in Nigeria, and this will continue to be so. The production of rice and cotton also has the advantage of providing jobs for the teeming youth because both value chains are labor intensive. In recognition of the importance of agriculture in Nigeria, successive governments at different levels have tried several programs and strategies to improve the productivity of the sector and linkages with industries to promote food security and employment creation. The idea is to get youth involved in rice production, and it is one of the cardinal programs of the current administration. In the area of cotton, the Jonathan administration injected some funds to promote its production, and the current administration is leveraging on that initiative. However, Nigeria has continued to fall below the expectations in terms of agricultural development. This has compounded the problems of unemployment in the country. The figures from the National Bureau of Statistics and the Central Bank of Nigeria have continued to show the staggering rate of unemployment in the country.
We need to increase productivity. On rice alone, if I should mention, the highest productivity we are recording now is 2 to 4 tons per hectare. Whereas when you go to Japan, they are recording 25 to 30 tons per hectare. How can our farmers compete? Anybody who wants to borrow money, they write to Ministry of Agriculture, they push it to Mr. Aziz, and we have to follow how the man can get money.
The Partnership for African Social and Governance Research with support from IDRC, Canada and DFID recently commissioned a study that sought to examine the how and why of the constraints to employment creation in the agriculture and agro-processing sectors. The studies were conducted in Nigeria, Kenya, and Ethiopia. The Nigerian study suggests that employment creation in agriculture and agro-processing has not been successful in both clusters. Many rice mill factories have closed down because policies have favored groups whose interests are inconsistent with local production and job creation. The study shows that smallholder farmers are largely excluded from the negotiation by interest groups, hence unable to benefit from the backward integration of the rice value chain. Mapping the key actors in the rice value chain reveals that the key players in the sector, large importers, were the key blockages of the potential of the sector to promote wage employment in the rice value chain. Since the interest of the rice importers is contrary to the goals of achieving increasing domestic rice production and self-sufficiency, they are able to influence policies such as waiver on rice imports, thereby negatively affecting the backward integration of job creation. For political settlement in the rice value chain to promote employment, the interests of importers need to be captured by way of realigning the structure of incentives. The stakeholders forum during the course of the study suggested that the rice importers should be transformed to domestic producers, while domestic producers should be supported to expand production and increase jobs. Cotton growing is one of the most labor-intensive agriculture production in Nigeria, estimated to employ 150 man-days per hectare per year. The cotton textile revival strategy is envisaged to create about 125,000 jobs by 2015. With 175 textile mills in operation, the cotton textile cluster in the past employed over 600,000 people. Today, there are less than 24 mills left, and the sector employs less than 28,000 people. The employment potential of the cotton textile industry value chain has become a mirage because of policy inconsistency. Banning importation enables domestic cotton production and textile mills to expand and employ people, while permitting importation enables the customs to rake revenue for the state. Shockers generated thousands of jobs all over Nigeria. not only at the manufacturing front, but also by an expansive distribution outlet nationwide. These initiatives contributed to the gross domestic products and contributed to the conservation of Nigeria's foreign currency reserves. Indeed, Shokas was a textile giant. The entire facility evokes a sad picture. One of the operators said the practice of multiple taxation was benefiting neighboring countries like Cotonou, but killing the industry at home.
It's a very complex issue. Cost of manufacturing in Nigeria is higher than, for example, our competitors in India, in Thailand, or in China have. The lack of electricity.
Many years ago, this octogenarian established a textile firm called Solak Textile Industry. He tells the story of how he was inspired to establish the firm.
We are buying cloth from overseas, from expatriates. Then they call us that are we interested, they want to open a textile industry in Nigeria. Are we interested? Then myself and my friend, we said yes, we're interested. That is how Choco Industries was formed.
According to him, saboteurs destroyed the nation's textile industry, a point that was corroborated by his long-time associate. In Kaduna State, this industry player traces the fall of cotton industry to the collapse of the defunct cotton boards. He says the way out is for stakeholders, including the government and the private sector, to come together and forge a common front.
The problem can only be corrected by all stakeholders coming together, both government and we that are in the private sector. We must face it squarely. We must accept first of all that we have a challenge and then agree to work together.
Also, the overhead cost is very high for industries. And behind the gas pipeline that is supplied here, we are paying $5 per SCM, standard cubic meter. In OPEC countries, it's $2.5. And here we have Naira. CBN has said that anything purchased locally should be in Naira. Why are we paying dollars?
But Salam Abdullahi, who is the president Cotton Ginneries Association, believes that if we get serious, we can produce to satisfy both local consumption and export.
If we are disciplined and serious, as we are now getting to, I'm sure we'll be able to produce what we can. I'm not even thinking or hoping that only we'll produce only what we can consume here. No, we should be able to produce and export.
A study in Nigeria suggests that employment creation in agriculture and agro processing has not been successful in both clusters. Many rice mill factories have closed down because policies have favored groups whose interests are inconsistent with local production and job creation. While there is a potential to generate massive employment in both value chains, the focus of large-scale commercial farmers and large-scale processing firms tend to overshadow small-scale holders. But it is not all negative tales, as we can see from the story of Choco Industries Limited, located in Kaduna State. Established in 1978, it is the largest manufacturer of blankets, cardigans, bedspread, knitting yarn, socks, and related products in West Africa. They are also not immune to the general problems confronting the sector, as import duty on rags, which is their major raw material, has been a source of worry.
One problem we face that in government policy, we have been importing mutilated rags since last 25 years, we can say. But suddenly government changed the policy. They imposed 20% duty on rags, which is our basic raw material.
Engineer Olagbaju says renewed attention is being given to agriculture in the ministry.
With the renewed attention, the renewed focus for agriculture, by 2018, we want to be very, very self-sufficient in some of these major commodities that we are importing. And we're not only going to do that as a government, we're going to work seriously with the public-private sector I'm talking about people of like mind who are genuinely interested in agriculture. They can come in and partner with the federal government to be able to move agriculture forward.
Members of the Senate, House of Representatives, and the State House of Assembly should be encouraged to support substantial increase in financial provision for agriculture and agro-processing. Guidelines for assessing such funds should have specific inclusion clause that allots not less than 40% of beneficiaries to women and youth. The way stakeholders confront these challenges in the days, months, and years to come would determine whether they would make a success of turning around agriculture in a way that would further boost decent employment opportunities for Nigerians. The clock is ticking.